Lori, there's a lot of discussion about leadership, and so many thought leaders and speakers and books about how to develop your leaders and leadership development and how to recruit leaders. And there doesn't seem to me as much conversation around management. Why is that?
Yeah, that's interesting, Todd, because, it used to be that we focused all our attention on management. It was all about management. And it became that there wasn't enough focus on leadership and not enough natural tendency toward leadership. And so it is something that's very critical, but we need to make sure that we don't forget about management. That's the thing that can be happening at times. And so we can't just be leading without management. It's a blend of the two of those things.
I imagine there are some people that think they're the same thing, right? But
yeah. And you can see why, because sometimes they are used for different reasons, titles, roles. And so it's a manager, it's a leader, it's leadership, it's management. And so you think about how important it is to have a blend of the two of those, because if you think about leadership and what is that? That's more about inspiring people. It's more about getting people to want to follow.
To rally them behind a vision.
Where management is more about making sure that they're doing it, more from a task perspective, where leadership is more from an emotional perspective. And so leadership, we want people to feel connected. We want people to feel like they want to come along. We want them to have a good level of trust. We want them to respect the leader. We're in management, at least the function of it, we're really making sure that the job is getting done. We're making sure that everything is getting completed. There's certain tasks that, for example, delegation is a great example. There's a way we delegate for a leadership reason and for a management reason. So we delegate for a leadership reason to get people to learn and grow and develop. We delegate for a management reason to make sure the stuff is getting done and we're utilizing our time appropriately as a manager or a leader.
I think about what you just said, and I think about me and my skill sets and my personality. I would think that I would tend to be a better manager than a, quote, leader in the way you're describing it. It sounds like that people have a tendency towards one or the other in terms of skill.
We have our natural tendency typically toward one or the other. And it's really important that we know that about ourselves. When we talk about the GRIT model, generosity, respect, integrity, and truth, helps us to know who we are as an individual. And one aspect of that is knowing our natural tendencies, our strengths and our limitations. There's a lot of great tools out there. We use DISC as one of the tools to help people understand, okay, here's what I'm naturally good at. Here's something that I may need to focus more energy on, or just really make sure that I'm paying attention to this. When it comes to the function of being a manager, we need to lead and manage. I may be more naturally suited to lead because I love inspiring people. I don't necessarily like holding people accountable. That's not something that I enjoy doing. Managers, on the other hand, holding people accountable in that way comes a little more naturally to them. Inspiring doesn't come as natural. The important part is we need a balance. We need to be able to have a nice balance of leadership and management. And there's not an exact cookie cutter number, because it's going to depend, of course, on the role. But generally speaking, you want more leadership than management.
Yeah, is there a ratio you should be thinking about?
It's around 70-30. And now, of course, that varies, and there's going to be different situations. But what's typically happening, though, is because leadership is less measurable, management is more measurable, people tend to be groomed, and we tend to focus more on management tasks, because that's something that's easier to check off the list. That's something that's easier to say, did we do that? Can we actually tangibly measure this? It's easier to even connect that to the P&L. Whereas leadership, it takes kind of a leap of faith when we believe in the way we're connecting with someone, the way we spend the time to walk around the office and connect with that person. What is that going to create? We're not going to be able to measure that. It's an intangible kind of thing, but we know that that is going to create somebody that wants to follow you, somebody that believes in you, somebody that trusts. And so it's kind of ironic because the more we practice leadership, really the more productivity we're going to get. Whereas in management, it is easier to measure that productivity.
Thinking about that, you know when you're being led by a true leader.
Yeah, you certainly do. And leadership is about being able to have faith in the way you're helping people to grow, the way you're inspiring people, the way you're connecting with them is going to help people not only grow and learn, but it's going to have the end result of more productivity. Leadership, it's really the leader's responsibility to create that safe environment where people can learn and grow and become the potential of who they're meant to be.